One of my biggest inspirations for drawing and what I want to draw in general would be anime. I specifically like male idol, sports and BL anime a lot. Because of this, I decided to draw some BL anime ships this June, which is also Pride Month, so happy Pride to everyone. Hi, here's May, and in today's video I show you the process of drawing some of my favorite BL anime ships while talking about them and shipping in general. Let's get started with the first characters. We start off with Nezumi and Shion from number 6. This was the first BL anime I watched. It has more of a dark sci-fi setting. I really like the ship, but I don't like the whole atmosphere and world the story is set in that much. I'm putting up the Anime Planet synopsis of the anime on screen here, and so if you don't know it, you can read through this. This anime is more focused on the story and the whole world than the relationship of the characters compared to other BL anime to me. It was probably good that I saw this first, since it was kind of a nice transition from watching more shonen anime to seeing some BL or yaoi elements in anime for me. It got me more interested in seeing relationships like this. I really like how Nezumi is protective of Shion while still being his independent self, and how Shion appreciates Nezumi for who he is and wants the best for him. I like both Shion's and Nezumi's personality a lot. I drew them in a pose where they were dancing, since in the anime Nezumi shows Shion how to dance, and it's probably my favorite scene in the whole anime. I also mentioned the characters' personality types and their dynamic for the ships I'm drawing. For these two, Nezumi would be an ISTP and Shion an INFJ, and I described their relationship with the flirty X oblivious or rebel X vanilla, with Nezumi being flirty and more of a rebel and Shion more oblivious and peaceful. Now I'll talk a bit about how I got introduced to shipping characters, and if you want to, you can also tell me a bit about your own experience with shipping characters in the comments. As a child, I would watch lots of Disney movies, and I guess I kind of shipped the couples there, but I wasn't really aware of the term shipping back then. My first real introduction to shipping was probably when I was around 11 years old. My biggest first ship was Zelda and Link from The Legend of Zelda. I remember I watched lots of edits on YouTube of them, and I also started to read fanfictions about them. They are still one of my most favorite ships, since I really like The Legend of Zelda in general. The next big ship I spent a lot of time with watching videos of them or reading fanfictions about was Jelsa, Jack Frost from Rise of the Guardians, and Elsa from Frozen. Jack Frost is probably my favorite character of all time, only matched by Chongyun maybe. Elsa is my favorite Disney princess. She's the one I probably relate to the most. Because of this, you can probably tell that both Jack Frost and Elsa are really important to me. I also made several edits of them myself and drew them a couple times, just like with Zelda and Link or Link. The same goes for the next important ship I mentioned, which is Rayla and Callum from The Dragon Prince. The Dragon Prince is a very important show to me, since it's the cartoon that got me into watching more cartoons and then anime in the first place. The characters, story and world of the show are incredible to me, and the relationship of Rayla and Callum is really wholesome. Now we move on to one of the most known BL ships in anime probably. Here I'm drawing Mafuyu and Uenoyama from Given. These two remind me a bit of Nezumi and Shion, with Uenoyama being a bit like Nezumi in that he likes to be independent. He's just not as daring as Nezumi probably. And Mafuyu and Shion are both very friendly and a bit naive. Watching this anime made me feel really good. I loved seeing the connection Uenoyama and Mafuyu can form through their common interest in music. And I want to keep this as spoiler-free as possible, so I'm keeping this very general. If you don't want any ideas about what kind of scenes happen in the anime, I would skip the next half minute probably though. Uenoyama's reaction to hearing Mafuyu sing was really heartwarming to see to me, and I like that he himself can't catch on to that he has feelings for Mafuyu at first. I also really like the different personalities showing up to portray Uenoyama's thoughts in the final episode. It was a really funny scene, and I kind of wish there were more anime doing something similar, or even an anime based around personalities and how characters think. Speaking of personality, Uenoyama's personality type is ISTP, the same as Nezumi's, and Mafuyu's INFP. Some shipping dynamics or tropes I would describe their relationship with would be: here's the other, sing once and never recovers definitely. First love, sunshine and grouchy, even though Uenoyama isn't that grouchy, but when you compare both their personalities, they can come off as Uenoyama being very down-to-earth and sometimes strict, while Mafuyu is a bit of a airhead and very gentle. Continuing on from where I left off for drawing Nezumi and Shion, I'll now talk about my development in shipping characters up until now. As I said before, after watching lots of cartoons, I then got into anime. I started with more shonen ones like Hunter x Hunter and Inuyasha, and shoujo anime like My Little Monster and Lovely Complex. After some time, I found my favorite genres within anime, which include male sports or idol anime, as well as BL anime. I don't know exactly why, but I started to mainly ship BL couples from then on. I just enjoy seeing boys be in love and cute together. It doesn't mean I don't like other ships as well, but right now what I'm most interested in are BL couples. But I also like otome games that really focus on the different love interests. I don't find I see myself as self-insert of the main character there. Instead, I just like to observe the male characters, find out more about their personalities and see how they would act when they are in love. That's why I also mainly draw male characters. I enjoy seeing pretty and cute anime boys and finding out more about their personalities, which comes from me also being in general interested in personality, probably. Some of my favorite BL anime include Hitorijime, My Hero. This would probably be the favorite one out of all BL anime. I know it made me the most emotional. Another one of my favorites would be Given, anime I'm currently drawing 2 characters from. This anime includes 2 ships, but I decided to only draw Uenoyama and Mafuyu. I really like their wholesome story and the fact that they can connect through music so much. Next we have Spiritpact. This one is a bit underrated to me. I rewatched it recently and I only rarely rewatch shows. For some reason I really wanted to. It's got this good mix of some comedy, some slice of life, and of action. I find it's just pretty relaxing to watch to me. And finally I mentioned Love Stage. I really like how dramatic this anime can be. It made me laugh lots of times and it was really entertaining. And seeing the relationship dynamic of the characters there was great. I go on to some honorable mentions I watched. We have Dakara Tai Otoko, Gravitation, Modao Tsushi, Monochrome Factor, Dramatical Murder, Uragiri wa Boku no Name o Shiteru. I'm sorry if I'm misspelling the names. Then also number 6. I didn't include it in my favorite ones since I personally don't like the more angsty elements in the story. I actually don't like dramatic, action-packed stories involving lots of sadness a lot. I feel like the ship gives this nice wholesome contrast to the more dark world the characters are in though. Continuing with BL anime I watched, Kiss Him Not Me, Gakuen Heaven, Loveless, Tsukisho, Super Lovers, and lastly, but this would also be one of my favorite ones from the ones I'm mentioning honorable mentions here, would be Junjou Romantica. And here are ones I definitely want to watch, but I haven't watched yet. Sasaki and Miyano, Sekaiichi Hatsukoi, and Heaven's Official Blessing. My biggest current ships would be Singyun, Chongyun and Zingsho, definitely as well, and some other Genshin ships like Ayatoma, Karetem, or Zhao and Ether. In the ensemble stars, I also ship several characters. Mainly we have Shu and Mika. Other ships I like include Hiyori and Jun, Rei and Kaoru, Aichi and Wataru, Hiro and Aira, and Rinne and Nikki. Then we have Haikyuu, and I got into these Haikyuu text story videos on YouTube a while ago. Sometimes I like to watch or more like listen to them while coloring my illustrations. My biggest Haikyuu ship would definitely be Tsukiyama, so Tsukishima and Yamaguchi. The final illustration for this video, I decided to draw Tanmoku, Keith and Yokeka from Spiritpact. I mentioned that I just rewatched it when I was talking about my favorite BL anime, which is why I really wanted to draw them. This anime has some really funny, entertaining moments, and I like seeing both Tanmoku, Keith and Yokeka's character development a lot, especially the fact that they both kind of learn a bit from each other. Tanmoku learns to open up and be a bit more friendly towards others, while Yokeka learns to take things more seriously and think more about his actions. I find the portrayal of how they both open up to each other is really nice in this anime. I also just realized that for all the characters I drew in this video, the anime therefrom doesn't solely focus on the relationship of the characters or romance. For number 6 there was the sci-fi theme, for Given music, and for Spiritpact it's supernatural elements. BL anime that really focus more on the relationships of the characters to me would be Junjou Romantica, Super Lovers, or Dakara Tai Otoko. I find that sometimes I prefer watching very romancy anime, or sometimes I want something more casual with some BL elements in there. You can tell me what you personally like or which BL anime you really like in the comments. Onto the personality types of the characters I'm drawing. For Tanmoku we have INFJ, just like Shion from number 6, and for Yokeka ENFP. For the dynamic, I describe it with the old married couple towards the end of the anime. Also the no one asked the question, but they both know they're basically married. Then star-crossed lovers, because their ancestors have some connection. There's this ceremony in the anime that reminds me a bit of a arranged marriage trope, When it comes to shipping characters, the dynamic the characters have can often be what makes the ship really interesting. The shipping dynamic is a bit like a genre of a movie or a book. If you're into fanfictions, you probably know a lot of different dynamics, and you might have developed your own taste, meaning you can already tell from the dynamic the characters would have whether it's a ship you would probably like or not. You might like really cute and fluffy romance stories with maybe a childhood friend or best friend to lovers dynamic, or you might be into a really dramatic stories with lots of angst and a enemies to lovers kind of dynamic. Many ships can be described with a few dynamics, not just one, and I'll now do a small shipping dynamic. Here's an unsorted version of the tier list, and I'll now go through each tier from lowest to highest. We start with no. First we have Yandere x Lover. As much as I enjoyed watching a Yandere simulator let's play in the past, in real relationships I wouldn't like Yanderes. Angry Man x Tired Nerd. I don't like the angry character type that much, and I often don't get why they would like each other here. Monster x Person. I can't get behind monsters being a love interest. When I'm watching an anime, for example, I have to say it's quite important to me that the people there are attractive to me, so I want to and can connect with them more. Now we move on to the okay category. First I mentioned rivals. I prefer a more peaceful, sweet relationship, but this dynamic can definitely lead to nice, exciting scenarios. Villain x Villain. Here the same applies as with rivals, and it's also similar with the Jerk x Jerk and Dumbass x Dumbass dynamics. I don't relate to the characters that much here, but it's nice that the characters are similar. Gentle Tall and Angry Small. This has a nice contrast, but the angry character can be a bit annoying to me sometimes. Next we have Tired x Hyperactive. Realistically, I wouldn't see two people like this being able to live that well together, since the tired person might get worn out by the hyperactive one, while the hyperactive one gets brought down by the tired one. However, contrasts can work very well. And finally, Bodyguard x Sweet Bean. I don't like the bodyguard character type that much. Moving on to the decent category. Chaotic x Chaos Enabler. This is nice since both characters have a passion for chaos. I'm a rather organized person, so I don't relate too much to this though. The same applies to the Dumbass x Midermass trope to me. Serious x Chaotic. As long as the chaotic character isn't too chaotic, I like this contrast a lot, just like the Sunshine x Dark Edge dynamic. Angel x Demon. It has a nice contrast, and how much I like this dynamic really depends on the unique personalities the angel and demon character have. I would find a more cold-hearted angel and a sweet demon very interesting, for example, but a sweet angel and a cold-hearted demon can work as well. Hero x Villain or Rebel x Authority. Similar to Angel x Demon, it can be a nice contrast and nice in different ways depending on the character's personalities. Now moving up the tier list to pretty good. First we have a dynamic I also mentioned for Nezumi and Shion, which is Oblivious x Flirty. I like that the flirty character shows affection here while the oblivious one misses the signs. It often leads to a nice reaction when the oblivious character finally realizes the flirty one is interested in them. Aggressively supportive. I like wholesomeness, so this is nice, but I don't want it to be supportive to a point that the characters don't look after themselves and only after their partner. Subtall x Dom Small. I like the play on how the taller person isn't the dominant one here. Next we have Elegant x Servant. Here the characters know each other pretty well, since a servant is around their master most of the time, which is nice. Dog x Dog. Same goes as with the Dumbass x Dumbass one, only that I prefer the dog trope kind of characters. They can be very cute. Then we have Roommates. Depending on the characters' personalities, this one can be different, but I like that the characters know each other through living with each other, similar to the Elegant x Servant dynamic. And Polyships. I haven't seen a lot of content with polyships, meaning it includes more than two people in the relationship. I've only seen some IQ stories with Bokuto, Kuro, Kenma and Akashi as a ship, for example, and I like them, but again it depends on the characters within the polyship here. And finally we move on to the top tier dynamics. First we have Childhood Friends. This one is a classic. Singyun would fall into this category, for example. The characters know each other, similar to the Elegant x Servant dynamic, but on a friendship level, which I like a lot. Serious x Chill. Since I tend to relate to both the serious and chill characters, I like this dynamic a lot. Touch-Starved x Cuddly. Some OCs I have would probably fall into this category, since I like drawing characters hugging each other and so on a lot. So yeah, this is a nice dynamic. Honest x Easily Flustered. I just really like honest characters as well as easily flustered characters a lot. I relate to the honest characters most of the time, and I find the easily flustered ones can be adorable. Next we have Supportive x Broken. Stories with these characters tend to be wholesome most of the time, so I like this one. And finally, Married Couple. Since I like wholesome dynamics in general, this one is really good to me. I really enjoy doing tier lists, especially ranking anime characters like I did for Genshin character designs. I also enjoy watching Kumak's Genshin tier list videos, for example. If you want to, you can also leave your own opinions on shipping dynamics or your favorite ships in the comments. That will be it for today's video. Drawing these characters was a lot of fun to me. And I also have them available as stickers on my Etsy shop, which I'll link in the description. I hope you have a great day and thanks for watching. Bye.